So I'm down here in Nashville, Tennessee, because Jacob Dash, he gives me a phone call and he says, "Hey Malik, do you got anything going on this week?" So don't really have anything planned. Wasn't really doing anything story wise or anything behind the scenes. So he asked if I can come down and run a seminar and do some training with some of the new guys that are over at his school. Highly recommend y'all going to Jacob Dash's training facility, training school to do seminars and really help these new guys break out into the business. So I go there and I give them a lot of rundowns of ring IQ, ring psychology, telling a story, getting them comfortable with terminologies, being able to call spots, and being able to know when to go home, when to throw a high spot, when to do a cutoff sequence, and everything like that. So then I'm standing around, and they're sitting down. I'm just being able to kind of like talk and answer questions. So I asked a question: "What's a pop?" Genuine question. I asked them, "What's a pop?" I wanted to hear their thoughts on it. So one kid says, "Oh, a pop is it's one of the big moments in a match." And I'm like, "What do you mean by it's a big moment in the match?" He's like, "Oh, like let's say, babyface is getting the shit beat out of him, and then he finally, fights back, like he gets a pop." I'm like, "No, not necessarily." And I told him I've watched matches where a babyface, has that hope spot and people just don't care. They're more excited for the heel than they are the face. So I asked again. I'm like, "What's a pop?" Another guy chimes in and says, "Oh, it's the point of no return." And I was like, "What do you mean this is the point of no return?" And he says, "Oh, it's once you reach that point and you pop, there's no turning back." And I looked at him and I said, "You know what, you're slightly there." I was like, "A pop is popping a nut. Simple as that." You're basically trying to get people to emotionally come while watching your match. So then I started asking, when you watch some of the top guys in this industry walk out of a curtain to hundreds to thousands of fans, what is the reaction that they get? They get a pop. In my personal opinion, if the whole entire crowd pops as soon as you leave that curtain, you might as well turn back, because they're not going to pop any longer. They've reached that point. There's no use for them to go back. The thing about it is that having a pop, you want to build that. You want to build up to that moment of no return. But it has to be towards the end of the match. You can't be popping people so early in the match. There's nothing wrong with, faking them out and teasing them, giving them blue balls. There's nothing wrong with that. But the ultimate goal is to get them to pop towards the end, towards the finish. That's why it's a pop. So I'm breaking it down a little bit more, and I'm telling them, there's going to be that time where no one's going to pop. And it's not their fault. It's your fault. What are you doing wrong for them not to pop? And again, tying into finishing maneuvers. How are people going to know you're about to finish the match? Are you signaling the crowd? You're trying to hype them up? Is there a certain taunt that you do to let people know that it's about to be over? Or do you just go straight for it? And a lot of those guys were, claiming that they had finishers, and I thought that was cute. And they're like, "Oh, I just hit it." So it's like, so you just hit it and they don't pop, right? Yeah, that's not how it should be. Again, You should be building these people up to the point of no return, and as soon as they pop, it's over. As soon as you finish and they pop, that's going to change the perspective of that whole entire match. That 2-star match that it started out possibly just went up to a 3.5 to a 4 because you got the crowd to pop. And I'm telling them, you know, if these people aren't reacting, if they're not interacting with you, you might as well go home. Call it, go home, get them out. There's no use. So, you know, we use that term pop very loosely as a wrestlers when we watch other people perform. We're not really popping for the match. We're popping for spots. And that's not how it should be. You know, going back to the Fire episode 1, I popped for quite a few spots. And I shouldn't have. I should have kind of waited it out to see if I was going to pop towards the end or not. But, you know, sometimes moves catch you off guard and you pop a little too early. It happens. And then, you know, you got to let it sit a little bit more, and then, you know, it happens. But the ultimate goal is to get people to pop towards the finish. Not in the beginning, not in the middle. You want to get it to the end. For as long as your match is, you want to get them to the point. As soon as that finish hits and you signal the finish, you let them know that it's about to be finished and let them pop, then we're good.